picking my pieces from the ashes on the floor. Push away, but it's killing me. Smoke lungs when I try to breathe, filling me up without to hold them in my core. Oh, when you're here, oh, when you're near, oh, it burns and nothing I felt before. Oh, when you're here, oh, when you're near, oh, it burns like nothing I felt before, like nothing I felt before.
Here we go, 5 lights are underway for attempt number 2. Oh, there's already a spinner with, it's Tadachi.
Joe's going to have a go around the outside into turn 1. Holding the line is Wubsy. They go through that section of the track, still side by side, but through goes Joe. They're going to go 3 wide down into the left-hander. Who blocks the line for him? They're trying to go side by side, and there's been a touch.
What a demanding win by old mate James to start the season.
Hello and welcome along to round 2 of the Aussie Racing League at a venue that created history way back in 1986 when former F1 boss Bernie Eccleston was able to organise the first ever race behind the Iron Curtain. But to take victory here today, it's going to take nerves of steel. Let's take a look at the track layout. It's 4.3 kilometres in length, 14 turns, 2 DRS zones, and a place where pit stop strategies are going to be absolutely vital. Here's your commentary team for Novice, Nordal and Fluxy. And a very big hello everybody, my name is Nordal and joining me in commentary today is Fluxy. G'day Fluxy, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, you know. I've been practicing the Rocket League still, hoping to make another RLCS run, even though my career was short-lived and never accomplished anything. I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
By the way, a.k.a. Human Chaos and Max Formal joining us in commentary today because it's been a little bit of a change, but hey, why not? Let's have a bit of fun. Championship sees James out in front, Valhalla, Wubsy, Baby Bass, who I don't think is racing tonight, so let me just check down the list. No. So things are going to get very interesting, and Aston Martin out in front in the championship at the moment. The cars are coming out onto the track for qualifying, or just about to. That's the screen that we have. 17 minutes left of this qualifying session. Let's see how things play out. This should be a fun night. Salty, Bevo, Valhalla, Churi, Tadachi, who had a shocker at the previous round. Got a blinder of a start on take 1, but they reset the lobby and take 2 just didn't get things his own way. Xanta, who's always strong. Old mate James, who did a massive job in commentary last night. GG to you, brother. Wubsy's in there as well. Bailey, Hawk Trio, Robbie, my teammate. He was looking for a strategy earlier on today. Foxy stepping in, Knight, Panache, Kev the Gardener, and Joe rounding out the field. So, Maxie, we've got a pretty good lineup here today.
Yeah, we have a pretty big one, and I think it's going to be super interesting to look at as well because last week it's kind of tough to say that's going to be a systematic result and what we're going to be coming to expect because I see drivers like Joe didn't really have that strong result. Ferrari, I think, was a little bit further behind than what we were expecting as well, and that's not to take anything away from last week's winner of that being old mate James, who did a very good job to fight their way through the field. But now that it's week 2, cars have settled down a bit. I'm expecting to see a much clearer picture of what the top of Div 3 is really going to look like. So I'm looking for drivers like, you know, your Bass Baby, like your Kev the Gardener, Joe again, just going to mention his name, kind of my pick to actually win this one. I'm expecting they're going to be the drivers who are going to be more towards the top.
Yeah, and we're on board with old mate James at the moment. I'm expecting a pretty big qualifying performance out of him. I've got to be honest, and this is not putting any rubbish on the guy. Bevo is a super quick driver and didn't have an outstanding round at the first round of the championship. So I'm expecting a big comeback from him this week because the guy's got so much talent.
So you're not going to throw anything on him. Being his teammate, I am going to throw a little bit on him. I think I'm allowed to get away with that. Bevo defied, race engineering instructions. Hey, stay away from the softs, start on the mediums. Softs might not work out for you. And, well, there was a little bit of difficulties getting the correct setup as well. As we know, we had that lobby reset, and I don't think Bevo would have been the only one who made that mistake and kind of went out on one of the default setups. But it definitely hurt some of the faster drivers' time. So this race around, I'm hoping that Bevo, as well as Hawk Trio, both the McLarens, they were the two soft runners last week, will be a little bit more conventional with their pit strategy.
Now, just stand by, everybody. I'm going to try and get all these details up for you because I'm caught a little bit on the hop today. I had a long day at work. There we go. And chat, don't be scared to scream out if I miss anything. We're going to stay in broadcast mode as long as we can because I love it too. And somebody may mention about the replay, the review of last week having a black background a little bit too much. I don't disagree with you there. It looked a whole heap different on my big screen here, but didn't look so flash on the smaller screen. So we'll get that fixed up for next week. Salty is Gonski. He's out of this session. I didn't see who.
James is also lucky to still be in this one as well after that, spinning and into the wall. Front ring gone. This is already looking like a little bit of a messy qualifying session.
And I'm just going to try and jump on board. I think, let's see where the second of the... No, that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm just trying to pick up what happened there. But, yeah, we've got Salty out of that session, and that's really disappointing. Joe goes to the top of the timesheets.
Was a McLaren as well that also had spun just at the end of section 1 during their outlap. I'm not sure if it was Bevo or Hawk Trio. Now that we see Hawk Trio starting the lap second. So yeah, I think it was Hawk who had a spin as well. So already a couple spinners on this Hungary track. And I mean, look, this is a track that can catch you out. It's slick at times. Some of the corners, especially coming out of section 2 where we did see, I believe that was James kind of hit that wall before. That a couple of those turns can catch you out if you're a little too quick on the acceleration. So already on these outlaps, on these colder tires, some of our drivers having issues as that's an Alpine facing the wrong way.
Yeah, not what you want in a qualifying session. I'm not sure if that's Xander. No, Xander's still going forward, so you'd have to say it'd be Bailey there. Yep, there he gets pointed in the right direction. And we've got, I think, Kev the Gardener coming up at 1,000,000 miles an hour too. No, he's gone into pit lane. And I think Hawk Trio might be on a flyer. Yeah, he's certainly chewing up some ERS there. And who else have we got? Sorry, go again.
Hawk already has a time, though. I think this is an in-lap unless they would have fueled up for 2 right now. Bevo would be the McLaren on the hot lap at this stage, who would be looking like coming around just the last couple corners. Does have a bit of traffic in front, but I think that traffic should be able to stay out of the way. Don't really see the time. He's working at 128, 129. Okay, so if that's his time, then he is way off the pace.
So frustrating sitting here with the controls and you know that there's cars on flyers and you don't know which one to look at and you want to give everyone love, Panache up into third spot, 1:17.9 for him, 1:17.4 for Joe is the benchmark time. Hawk Trio finds himself into the top 10 after a good lap there. He's clocked up a 1:19.03 and there's a fast charger. I think it might be Xander behind, or Bailey is it? No, just starting a flying lap at the moment. So I'll go back and we'll see if we can see. Okay, it's not. Where's Xander? It's not him.
No, I know old mate James is on an outlap right now, and I think about halfway through. So we could do a full flying lap as soon as James is able to get around, which should be in about 20 seconds time. Xanda does have one lap time in and probably will be on their way in. But yeah, having a look at James right now, this will be a pretty critical one, I feel, because James did have, a very strong result yesterday. Can't get much better than first place. Eyes are going to be on him to sort of repeat that performance, although the race pace was a lot stronger than the qualifying pace. Did only qualify P6 before as they go really wide. Trying to pick up speed. Not sure on the legality of that one. We'll let the marshals decide, but should be coming around this last corner quite hot as James gets ready to kick off their own hot lap.
Why don't you take us through the lap?
Because you're the one who won on this track. I would trust you more than me. Qualifying's never been my specialty, but away James goes. Gets right on the apex of turn 1, immediately into the DRS zone, so should be able to fly straight through. This next part has little movement as possible. Now, going through turn number 2 right here, sometimes you can hit that apex quite late. James did aim to hit it quite early, full speed through that little chink in the road before moving into sector 2. One of the more difficult corners right here. You have to keep it tight, can't find yourself going too wide. James just does that. Don't want to hit the curb either through this loud bank. Very easy to lose your grip through the most notorious chicane right here. I found in this game you can hit it a lot easier getting that throttle kind of after the first turn as you move through the more technical points of section 2. Hitting all those apexes actually quite nicely. James looking to put together a very smooth lap. Got a little bit wide right there. Kept it just in the line. A purple section. James absolutely putting on a screamer right here. Just a couple turns to go. This is where I always lose my speed. James, though, not going to have that problem. Keep the momentum through the corner. Uses just as much of that entry to the pit as allowed. Gets super tight for the final corner. Going to look to get that speed off the edge again using all the road, and that's going to be P2.
Awesome job there too, by the way. It was interesting to see his gears. I mean, he was taking corners in 5th where I was taking it in 4th last night. I suppose that's why he's up one division than me, but a scintillating lap to be second quickest, 1:17.6 for him. Knight sitting back there in a 3rd spot. And there we go. Achuri has had a bit of an off-track excursion as well. And we've got the 2 Haas's out there on track at the moment. Nose to tail, Foxy and Robbie. Just trying to work out which one. Robbie has an off-field excursion there. Hopefully he's got no damage. I think he's got wing damage yet, right-hand side by the look of that. So it's all going to be down to Foxy, who's just about to start a flying lap for the Haas team.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit unfortunate, but fortunately, I suppose for everyone, it is still qualifying. Not in that race time yet, and still with about 8.5 minutes to go. These times are going to be looking to be improved upon. I'm just thinking back right now to James's lap and where, a bit of time could be found, and I feel like it's going to be those last couple corners in section 3 where maybe it's gone a little bit too tight into that last corner. I don't know. James's lap felt really, really good, and I think that's just a testament to what Joe was able to put together before.
Deku's blaming me for the commentary curse on all of the Haas drivers, so apologies.
I'll keep at it then.
But I did notice that Salty's just put in chat that he's kind of glad that he got assassinated because now he can go from last to first, and I don't doubt for a second he's capable of doing that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, when you look at all the drivers kind of racing in this one, assuming Snoopaloop isn't the same as... who was it? Yeah, no, Snoopaloop was not racing last time. So, yeah, I am correct. Salty is actually the highest place finisher on this track in Division 3 last year, if we were to go by that, where he finished P6. Ps 1 through 5 have all gone on to different divisions. 2 of them went divisions down. A couple of them went divisions up. And that kind of leaves Salty on their own right now as arguably the favorite of this race as a result, yet they're going to be starting from the back, and everyone loves a good last to first challenge.
And Foxy has made his name known up into the top 5, now goes back to 6th as the top 6 or so jump around, but that was a fairly good lap there, you'd have to say. But with a few minutes left of this qualifying session, they're all about to dive out of pit lane and get stuck into it again. Both Bevo and Hawk Trio are out on track at the moment, trying to improve their times as well. Valhalla finds himself into 3rd spot, a man who currently sits 2nd in the championship after the first round.
And hopefully he'll be able to repeat some of that performance and keep that momentum going for them again. I think this race is going to be a lot more indicative of where our drivers are going to be standing. So even though you might be P2 after round 1, whether or not you're able to keep that momentum here in Hungary, which is, like, this could be a controversial statement, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'd say Hungary is a more difficult track to drive than France is, even in the rain.
Checking out Kev the Gardener at the moment, sitting there in 5th. He's on a flyer, and he's on one lap old softs at the moment. Nice and smooth. Oh, his teammates had a spin.
That's unfortunate. That's not what you want to hear, but it does look like Kev was able to avoid it. Unfortunately, that could cost you a couple tenths of a second, which could be the end of this run. Kev still might be looking to finish this one out, though. Whether or not they'll be able to get a good time across the line, and yeah, no, they're going to abandon completely. Into the pits Kev goes. There is still just enough time to get yourself a fresh set of tires and get back out there for one last attempt.
And while that was happening, on screen, Xander at the moment brought out a yellow flag in Sector 1. He had a little bit of a spin.
Ooh. Not the only one it looks like, as there's a McLaren going quite slow as well at the start of Sector 2 as well. Most of the drivers at this stage have made their way, though, into the pits. I imagine we're going to chill out a little bit before everyone has one last go to try to beat some times. As whoa, that's an AlphaTauri in the grass right there. I believe, was that Tata?
Tadachi?
It was.
Let's go and have a look. There he is. He's got front wing damage, and he's backing up at the moment. That's a weird camera angle, game. Come on.
Yeah. Well, he's just waiting for the traffic to head by. Now has a little bit of space before it looks like the Alpine and the Ferrari make their way there, but has overshot it and might be stuck having to wait a little bit longer as well for all the traffic to get through. Oh, that's going to be a little bit difficult. I feel like Tata, if they want to get another lap in, they're going to have to book it right back to that pit stop.
He doesn't have much luck on his side, this guy, does he? But, gee, when he's on track and things are going his way, he's quick as.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see, one last attempt from them. At the moment, though, last lap outers are making their way through. Panache, Snoopaloop, as well as Bailey, all getting out there for one last go on this track. Just over 4 minutes remaining. 1:16.7 held by Joe. Their second lap was able to improve upon the first. And that's a very tough target to beat right now. I feel like nearly a complete second above second place.
You want Snoopaloop to win, don't you? Just so you can say, Snoopaloop takes the chicken flag.
Normally, yes. But Snoopaloop is driving a Ferrari, and I'm still mad at Ferrari after what happened at the French Grand Prix. So,
Yes, when it comes to tactics, they've got none. Joe out on track at the moment. And he's chewing through the ERS, so I'm assuming he is on a flyer. 1:16.74. Brand new softs on board. We've got 3.5 minutes left of this session to go.
Well, if Joe is on a flyer, it's a very, very slow one. They just slowed down to let some traffic through. So I think Joe probably setting up for that next lap right now, as they'll be going sort of behind the two Ferraris as well as that Alpine. Panache, although I would say, is on a flyer right now, currently sitting P4, and it's going to be looking to improve on that as it's having a little watch about to hit that dangerous chicane. Again, I'm really curious to see where Panache is going to put that throttle on, and you can see it's about half throttle through it, but then quickly onto that full gas, straight into fifth gear and holding it all the way through Section 2 right now. Once again, barely keeping it on the line. This is that exact kind of go for it you need to put right now if you want to get into those 1:16s. I think Panache has a very good chance here.
Let's see what he can do. A couple more turns to go. 2.5 minutes of the session left. He's invalidated, so he's backed out of it. And he's pulled up. Oh, he's just getting out of the way. Just getting out of the way.
Yeah, I think the moment that lap was dead and having a car behind him, he knew time to get out of the way. That's going to be disappointing, though, for Panache, as there really isn't going to be another time left for another lap unless there is fuel in that tank. Meanwhile, though, we were talking about Joe possibly having a hot lap before. I kind of want to jump back over to him at this stage because there is potential this could be a big one. Already pulled off a purple in Sector 1. Joe could be looking at another big play as he comes right on through that chicane again, just keeping that high momentum through Gear 5 and way off the road. It doesn't invalidate the lap, but that should be a loss of time. Unfortunately, I don't see Joe making an improvement.
Yeah, it looks like he's backed out of it too. I think Valhalla's having a bit of a go here. He sits in third at the moment. for the 1:17.6. Carrying plenty of speed through the right-hander. Hard under the brakes. Only this final sector to go. Let's see if he can improve. He's looking to try and smack that 1:17.6. Nice and clean through there. Up onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, it's not
just
hitting
a little bit
tight.
wide, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a little bit wide through it all. I think trying to maintain that speed, unfortunately, not going to be enough to improve on that time. So Valhalla is still setting on the 17.63, 300ths behind old mate James. And that's a little bit of a frustrating place to be, as it looks like we've got a Alpine just completely off the road up ahead. That is Bailey just driving around in the gravel right now. Probably has to wait a fair bit before there's going to be space back on the track. And with minimal time remaining, don't know if Bailey's going to be able to recover. Hot lap coming through right now. That is a Haas. If I just want to jump over to Robbie just to see where Robbie is going to be finishing, this could be a big one. Nope, no improvement there. Oh, because that was the outlap. My apologies. Now Robbie is starting their last hot lap in the final 30 seconds. I hate qualifying.
Oh, no, it's a shocker. You just don't know where to look, do you? You don't know where to look.
It's too much happening everywhere. Like, it is a circus. And I imagine, being in the stands watching this, it'd be a lot more fun than trying to make sense of the puzzle that's happening.
Let's see. Foxy doesn't improve, and he's just starting a flying lap. Now, is that Joe? No, Joe's come into the pits. He's bailed out. Who else have we got? Tadachi, where's he at the moment? Yep, coming through the final turn. We should stick with him. So I dare say that if he gets, he's full of ERS at the moment, and you'd have to think that, no, he's gone,
Yeah.
no.
Nope. Yeah, he kind of, I think he had bailed on that lap earlier, unfortunately, for Tadachi and for AlphaTauri. Not really the result they were looking for out of that second driver right there. Still is Valhalla sitting in the top three. If anyone is going to make an improvement right now, well, it's not going to be Robbie, as Robbie is pulling into the pits. Is anyone still looking at a hot lap? It could be Foxy, actually, as the last driver is. Whoa! Snoop-a-loop. And a little bit of a lawn mowing as a side profession right there, able to keep it on the track. I don't imagine that's going to be good for their time, as they do cross about half a second above from where they wanted to be.
I don't know if that was lag. I certainly got a little bit of lag from him on screen as Robbie bails out of the session, but Snoop-a-loop almost doing a loop-a-loop there.
That was bad. That was bad.
Hey, it doesn't get any better than that at this time of night from me, I can assure you. I can go a lot worse. Joe, 1:16.7 is the benchmark at the moment, and there is no one else on a hot lap, so he will take provisional pole over Bevo. He managed to jump up. Now, that's the speed I expect to see from Bevo. 1:17.4, old mate James, 1:17.6, rounding out the top three.
Now, HK,
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong on this one. Those top three drivers were all in Academy last season.
yes, they were.
Okay.
Not old mate James. Not old mate James.
Wasn't he? No, I always got James confused with Joe. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Only the top two. Only the top. You know what? That's fine. I'll take top two.
So there it is, Joe, Bevo, old mate James, Foxy, Valhalla, another good performance from him, Knight, Panache, Kev the Gardener, Robbie, and Snoop-a-Loop. Hawk Trio, Tadachi, Achuri, Xander, Bailey, Wubsy, and Salty rounding out the 17. Won't be long before we get this one underway. Clear conditions at the moment. I haven't heard if there's going to be a change in plan with regard to the weather. We will find out in just a few moments' time what is the state of play there. So, what strategy would you be taking coming into this one?
It's funny that you asked me that. Look, I was a believer in the mediums until yesterday, where one driver in Academy opted for the hard start, and they wound up winning that race. So I think that definitely probably is going to have some teams sort of questioning it. I don't know. I feel like you might be more of the expert on that one in terms of the benefits of starting on the hards right there, because it seemed to work.
I just don't want to give away too much, that's all, because we've got more racing to do this season. But yeah, I chose to go out on the hards because if you pit under green, the mediums are far better to come up to temperature. Now, if you're on the opposite strategy and a safety car comes out and you're on mediums and everyone's on hard, you can generate the temperature much, much quicker. So that was my my thought process, and it just happened to work out.
I think it worked out quite well. I mean, look, even from my own perspective, when I wound up kind of switching over to the hards after a lap 1 incident, I kind of had that same effect, which got me towards the front towards the end of the race. So going to be very curious to see if anyone else is going to be following in your example, starting on those hards, as I'm trying to bring it up myself to see what kind of tires people are taking. And there we go. Yeah, a couple hard runners this time. Kev, Robbie, Xanda, Bailey, and Salty all on the hards, but also have Foxy and Wubsy taking the softs, and that is a very different approach, a soft to hard strategy that I feel like is going to be very reliant on a safety car.
Softs, wow. That is it. Look, I don't doubt that if you go softs to maybe lap 7, lap 8, and then go hards, I mean, it's a long run for the hards, but if you're in 4th, do you really want to be taking that gamble? I mean, obviously Foxy knows something, and I hope he's right, because that all points towards Haas, and I like that idea.
I mean, if you can make the moves, right, and get yourself into P1, I say go for those softs. But the problem that you're going to have is with that early pit stop, if you're out in the front, I feel like you're just going to come right back out into traffic towards that back end of the pack, and you're not really going to get that open air that you might be looking for to warm up and really get the hards in a groove. So unless Foxy is expecting to do a longer stint after making a couple moves on those softs and relying on the difficulty to overtake in this track to maybe keep that space, it is a very risky strategy. I can say the same thing, Wubsy. I like the softs a little bit better in the back, especially when you're surrounded by hard tires. You'll probably be able to make those moves, get that undercut pit stop, have some clean air, and really get a good pace going. So I like it more in Wubsy's position than I do necessarily in Foxy's, but I'm going to be very curious to see how it turns out for the two of them.
Well, let's see how they go gridding up. I love the new immersion of this game. It is absolutely awesome. The pit one, not so much. I'd like to be able to turn in, but this lineup in the pit box, perfect. Joe didn't get it though. Neither did Bevo. Both of them, bang. The front row. Well, at least they're equal on the front row, aren't they? But that gives old mate James and Foxy a big chance, particularly Foxy on those soft tyres. This is going to be huge. Valhalla good. Tadachi didn't get it. Xander didn't get it. And is there a car disappearing off into the distance there?
Yeah, that was just Foxy, who was like a little bit behind on the warm-up. Yeah, wait, who's going for a runner?
Somebody has gone for a bolt.
Yeah, Snoopaloop. All right, fair enough. It's going to get dragged back in, though. The marshals corralled them and sent them back. Look, we're about to get this race underway. HK lights should be going at any moment right now. Actually, where are the lights? Someone remind them. Did we pay the power bill?
Oh, damn. Hang on, I'll put 5 cents in the meter and see how we go.
All right, hopefully that will get us going.
I think maybe there was a desync. Now we're going.
Yeah,
3,
right.
4. Maxi, take it away.
Yeah, 5 red lights drop, and we are underway for the Hungarian Grand Prix. And straight away, that is Bevo crashing into the pack. Cars on each other. Carnage on the opening straight. It looks like Bevo's gone. James is gone. Xanda caught up in that. Bailey in there as well. Snoopaloop caught in the chaos, and straight away we have a full car safety.
Holy Toledo. Well, Belladat, 10 out of 10 for you. You said lap 1 there would be an issue, and you were 100% right. 100% right, my friend.
Oh, so James is the only DNF. 4 penalties at least. I imagine there's a lot of front wings out. And under safety car.
Oh, yes.
There goes Xanda.
Xanda. It's... Wow.
Trio caught in that as well. What is...
I did not expect any of this. I really didn't. Bevo spun off the line. Cold tyres, I would dare say. And this new game, as we both know, gee, they're loose. They're really, really loose. Now, I've got a little bit of an issue with OBS tonight because I wasn't really set up for tonight's gig and it's doing something weird. But while the safety car is out, just bear with me, chat. Let's go to the I'll switch off my game capture, and then we can go and have a look at the replay of this. Here's the replay of the start. I've just got to do it a little bit lethargic at the moment.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think we are restarting the lobby.
We're restarting. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame.
Everyone
looks
is
so
leaving.
good. Everyone's bolted.
Yeah.
That's one way of taking care of it. Okay, what we might do is we might take a little intermission and we will be back once we know what's going on. Stick around.
Falling and I never learn. The same flame and I'm always hurt. Picking my pieces from the ashes on the floor. Push away, but it's killing me. Smoke lungs when I try to breathe, filling me up with doubt to hold them in my core. Oh, when you're here, oh, when you're near, oh, it burns and nothing I felt before. Oh, when you're here, oh, when you're near, oh, it burns like nothing I felt before, like nothing I felt before. Like nothing I felt before.
Oh hey, you look so great when you're so pretty. Yeah, you got me waiting, 'cause we have a date. Baby, I can't wait. Baby, I get my focus when I see you rave, you what I wanted. Can you stay for life, for life, for life? Dime que me quieres, dime que yo soy para ti. Storming down the streets, I'm on my way to get the night train. Where I know you'll be, I just feel like crying, 'cause I know that we're not fine.
Okay, people, looks like we are getting ready to go racing again. Lobby is back up. Thank you all for your patience, and well done to the admins for trying to sort this one out.
You know what? I
We're
think
sitting here with our feet up, weren't we, Maxie, having a gibber?
Yeah, I think for the spectators, who are watching along for that, after watching the chaos that was the start of that race, they're willing to wait because they got gifted something special at that false start that we saw there before. Again, it's rare that you see pileups of that level in this game. Granted, they do happen from time to time, but that one was a special one.
Yeah, it was good. It looked good. And we should point out too, though, like everyone likes to, you and I race an academy class, and everyone likes to dish out on us.
Yep.
We made it through the first lap.
We made it. We made it through the first turn, even as well, and
Well, not
and we also
everyone,
made
but
it. We also made it past the start line, which half of the cars in that last race they weren't even able to do that. So
I'm waiting for the abuse to start in chat now. Here we go. Academy. Belladad is one of the boys. It's all right. Sorry, go.
Yeah, exactly. Belladad's there to represent Academy. And look, all I'm going to say is Div 3 is not very good at Hungary. I mean, I talked about this before, how Salty's coming into this race, finished P6 last time, which was the highest finished racer in Div 3 on this track last season. Both myself and Rudy were in that Div 3 race because that was back before, when, drivers can move up to race as a substitute. It was my one podium of the season, was in Div 3 on this track. So I just think Div 3 racers, not good in Hungary.
Written and authorized by Max Fall.
Yep.
I love it. Love a bit of controversy. We're getting ready for the restart here. Now, they will do the warm-up lap again, yeah?
I believe they should. Yes, I believe they should. Also, Dash saying we almost had a crash as well in Academy. Dash, no, that was just me being stupid. All right, that wasn't even. I'm not even going to say we on that one. I will take the L on that. That was a me almost had a crash.
Oh.
I just drove straight into the back of him on lap one. Like there's nothing around it. It was and then I just went spinning.
We're migrating host. I think we've still got problems here. I saw Churi drop out, and I'm getting migrating host. So I got no idea what's going on here again. I'll just wait for one of the admins to let us know. Looks like we might be having another reset, I'm thinking. Yep.
I think Lobby restart again. Word from Fluxy in the chat.
Yeah, and he'd demand. He demand. Well, there's one good thing that we can say. Oh, hang on.
Wait. Now people have left. Yeah. There
Yeah.
was a lobby bug. Okay.
Damn. Damn.
I wanted this race so bad, and we're so close. I feel it. It's right there, HK. It's right there.
It's close. It's close. It's close. Well, there's not a great deal we can say, so we'll bow out again. And a big shout out to Gears, who supplied all the music. And the AI is spinning on its own here. This is awesome. Oh, they blocked the track. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. We'll be back, people. Stand by.
The ashes on the floor. Push away, but it's killing me. Smoke lungs when I try to breathe, filling me up without to hold them in my core. Oh, when you're here, oh, when you're near, oh, it burns and nothing I felt before. Oh, when you're here, oh, when you're near, oh, it burns like nothing I felt before, like nothing I felt before. Like nothing I felt before.
Oh hey, you look so great. Well, you're so pretty. Yeah, you got me waiting. 'Cause we have a date. Baby, I can't wait. Baby, I get my focus when I see you rave. You what I wanted. Can you stay for life, for life, for life? Dime que me quieres, dime que yo soy para ti. Oh, baby, que me tienes. Baby, don't time. I'm like a side of wonder.
Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the Hungarian 24-hour. Good to have the pleasure of your company as we get ready for take number 3. We're on the countdown, Max, so hopefully we'll get through this one. And as you pointed out privately, at least in Academy class, we got through the formation lap.
I can't believe you're selling me out like that, but I'm not going to deny it. Absolutely true. My Academy pride on full force right now because, yeah, we were able to complete a lap, including the formation one. So hopefully third time's a charm. Hopefully we get this race underway and these Div 3 drivers can show us what they can do. Because if we go back to my point at the start of qualifying that this is the true litmus test of where this division stands, we need to get through at least one lap to figure out who goes where.
Yeah, in fairness, it's just game glitches that are causing. And they did a patch last night during our race, in actual fact, and this is my first chance to have a look at it too. But let's see how we go this time around. Looking at the bottom of the screen, desperately wanting to see nothing.
Yeah, I mean, well, we want to see everyone load in. That's the dream right now. Get everyone in on the track and ready to go, and hopefully it will work out in that way. And then we'll get our formation lap, and then things will be going. No more computer crashes. Maybe a couple more car crashes because those always spice things up. And in the virtual world, at least, you know that's where we want to see them. And it could be a lot of fun.
The great thing is, like, we have really good racing in this division as well, and it's just building up now because of the problems that we've faced. It's sort of adding to the tension, if you will.
Yes, I like that. We're just building about 45 minutes worth of tension, and that's how come this race is taking. I get it. To me, it feels like Spa 2021 just without the weather.
True. Have you ever called a 24-hour race?
Oh, no.
I did a
No,
couple
I
of them.
haven't.
And you know what the biggest thing is? You don't want to go to bed. You don't want to miss a thing. And it's amazing. You can have a motor blow up. I didn't have a motor blow up, but one of the Ferrari teams did, and they replaced the motor, whacked John Bow back in the car and threw him back out on the track at Bathurst in a 24-hour race, and he still finished well. Okay, let's see how we go. This is not a 24-hour race. It's 35 laps. Is it? Or 36?
35.
35.
How would a 24-hour F1 race work? That sounds amazing to me.
Well, they
just for
could've-
the sheer amount of engine blowups that you would get. I don't know if any of the cars would survive 24 hours, genuinely.
Oh, no, they'd blow. They're not designed for that. Not designed for that at all. The 24-hour races are really, really cool. It's a really fast game of chess, and that's how I see Formula One. Very much a 320-kilometre-hour game of chess. So Bevo is shooting off into the distance. He's not wasting any time. I'll try and resettle this for you so we can get an idea. What do we want? Interval. We want tyres. Ooh. Only Wubsy's gone out there on the softs, so there's been a change of heart.
Foxy changed plans. Maybe listened to a little bit of the broadcast and figured, hey, you know what? The medium's probably a smarter go this time around. And I'm actually surprised Foxy is going not the hard start, because Foxy as a driver historically has been someone who likes the long tire strats, like wants to make it last as long as possible. So would not be surprised if we see Foxy go for that late overcut. Medium to soft strategy is what I'd be expecting from them, just based on their patterns in the past. So this is much more traditional Foxy, and I think even though they're not starting on the hards, expect those mediums to last a very long time.
Now, Joe didn't get onto his start box, and he got there very early, so his tyres are going to be cooling down. Bevo, I think he's had a masterclass here. Comes up, let's see what he does. Old mate James.
There you go.
Let's see if he gets in. I love Recon's comment.
Look at Foxy's angle.
Ferrari couldn't last 2 hours, let alone 24. Valhalla missed it. Kev the Gardener missed it. Superloop missed it. Tadachi missed it. Achuri's missed it. We've got one Ferrari making its way down into a position. Does he get it?
Yeah.
You feeling lucky, punk?
I'm sorry, Foxy did come in at a bit of an odd angle right there, but that's okay. It's all well good. Jars have lined themselves up, and just because you line up a little bit sideways doesn't mean too much, as that's a quick green light. We are underway. Straight into it right now. A good start from Bevo, not sideways, in fact side by side, but the better start has to come from Old Mate James, who's looking to go straight down the middle. We are 3 wide into turn number 1. Bevo on the inside, a little bit of contact onto James, means Foxy is going to try to capitalize, taking to that inside, and all this is allowing Joe to break further and further away. Foxy starting to fall back as James will make another go onto P3 in the end, though Foxy with a bit more speed around the outside, goes very wide on that outside, and actually winds up letting James through. So James at P3, Foxy P4, Valhalla P5.
Full course safety out there at the moment. Hawk Trio ploughed into the wall on the left-hand side of the wall after the start, and that's brought out a full course caution, as they say in America, or a virtual safety car, if you like, at this particular stage. Bailey with a 5-second penalty as well. The penalties have come thick and fast. Kev the Gardner with a penalty as well.
Yeah, and Kev actually I thought was a lot higher at the start right now. I would like to kind of jump just to see a little bit of the position change. This big winner off of that start actually was A. Churi, making 5 positions from P13 to P8. Did a very good jump, and Kev the Gardner, not only a 5-second penalty, but lost 6 positions as well. Not a very good start for Kev in that situation, and Kev actually has dropped all the way back now and sitting at the very back of the pack.
Yeah, not sure. Oh, he obviously got caught up in that. He's got no front wings, so doing the right thing and trying to get out of the way. And we're back under green flag conditions. Joe leads them down into turn 1. Then we go back to Bevo. Old Mate James in a great battle for 3rd spot. Foxy and the Haas trying to find a way around, and Valhalla keeping him honest as well.
And Nash also had a very good start right there, was able to get right around Knight as that fight just in front of them between Valhalla and Foxy, continuing the 2 cars side by side. Enough space given though, and with enough momentum, Foxy will be good. Now he's going to look to make a run on James, who did go a little bit wide moving into the start of Sector 2, and you can see Foxy has that speed on James, and unfortunately this is where this track becomes so difficult, as it looks as if Kev the Gardner may have pulled into the pits to retire.
And through turn 3, Bevo getting out there to the flag officials and signing autographs. He went that wide through there, so he'll pick up a little bit of a track limits caution as well. And great dicing further back in the field too, as we go back down towards Tadachi, who was the first of the hard runners up into 9th spot with Xander right behind him.
Yeah, this is a very thick pack right now, and it'll probably take a couple laps before it starts to spread out. Bit of F in the chats though from everyone for Robbie, who had a little bit of a spin as well going around that long bank at the start of Section 2. Now finds himself at the very back of the track, a few seconds behind into that long straight though. Who's going to be willing to make that move before DRS? You can see Panesh having a little peek, having a look right behind Valhalla. Thinks about it, he's going to go for the dive. Very late attempt right there. Couldn't quite make it stick, but now leaves himself exposed to Knight, who's going to have a go around the outside once again. Panesh, though, with enough speed, is able to shut that door.
Lap 3 of this one, and still this battle is on in earnest. Knight all over the back of Panache as they try and sort themselves out, and he's giving Valhalla a big run for his money too. And now the Ferrari sticks it up the inside. This is going to be brave. No, he backs out of it. Smart play.
Going for a move on that chicane is dangerous. I would know. You've got to go in there full confidence and trust that the other driver will recognize you are there, as we kind of watch Knight go a little bit wide through that second turner. Looks like there's another spin as well happening. That should be the AlphaTauri of Tadashi. Kind of came off, looks to be back on the road, should be fine. This midfield battle right now for 5th place is definitely where a majority of the action is looking to be shaping up. DRS going to be available now as we start this next lap, as we've had another spinner. That looks like A. Churi has gone a little bit off the track right before that main straight. And
Joe's gone 3.6 seconds further down the road. Bevo holding down second with some breathing space.
Oh, Xander! Sorry to cut you off, but Xander's out. Xander just went straight into the wall right in front of the start-finish.
Just trying to pick him up on the track there. Let's see if we can go back to, probably be despawned by now. We're back with Snoopaloop.
You'll see it off Snoop. Hopefully he'll still be there. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you'll expect. If they're not there, I can describe it to you. There's a car missing wheels just along the inside wall, and it despawned right as Snoop went around. But that is unfortunate.
And that 3.1 second gap that Joe's pulled out has been nullified because this is going to be a safety car. The safety car sitting out there on the track at the moment, so Bevo gets another shot at it, but oh gee, Joe is showing some incredible speed. So with 4 laps down, Joe, Bevo, old mate James, Foxy, Valhalla rounding out the 5, Panache, Knight, Bailey, Achuri and Wubsy. Good go from him on those soft tyres up into 10th.
Yeah, but the question is, do you stay out with this safety car? Because those softs have maybe 1-2 laps of competitive race pace left after this safety. Is that really worth staying on that tire, or do you take advantage of the safety car, pit to the hards, and kind of consolidate your losses? This is one of the risks that you take when you sort of run the softs in a track like this.
Well, let's see what he does. We're going to follow him at the moment as the leader, Joe, comes up to the safety car and he goes into the pits. And let's see what tyre choice he's going to go for. Is he going to go for the hards or is he going to go for the mediums? I'd say the hards, but I don't think mathematically the soft option has been favourable to him because of this safety car. Looks like mediums in actual, no hards.
No, they're
going on.
Hard.
Yeah,
they're hards with probably the intent to last to the end of the race, or at least unless there's a late safety car at the end at this stage. You can make those hards go to the very, very end, but unfortunately for Wubsy, it's going to be a long race. The advantage that you'd have, though, being in this position is like everyone else has not pit except for Snoopaloop, and who you are still staying in front of right now. So technically, if Wubsy can, maintain a fast pace, make a couple moves, and sort of stay in front and make this extreme undercut kind of work, there is a chance that Wubsy could find themselves again in the points and maybe quite high up there, just taking advantage of everyone else's pits later. But it's still going to be a tough race for the Aston Martin.
Well, Bailey's up into 8th spot at the moment, but he does have that 5-second penalty that he'll have to serve when he does come down into the pits. So he'll be looking at trying to push this car, the Alpine, up the track as far as he can before he gets to make that pit stop.
I mean, that pit stop's not going to be for a while, right? Like, everyone who started on those hards, they still have, in theory, another 20 laps to go before they're thinking about heading in, so it's an easy decision for them to stay out. Same for all those medium runners as well. Obviously, only 4 laps in, we won't be seeing significant wear, a significant hindrance to the pace, as looks like we will be doing one more lap of the safety car. Snoopaloop not quite into the pack in time before we could have seen that safety car pull in, so we'll have about 28 laps or so of racing as soon as that safety car does make its way in. And if Joe is able to maintain that pace once again, I feel it's going to be very difficult for anyone to keep up.
Yeah, well, he certainly got away, didn't he? He broke that gap in the first lap and a half and then just sort of maintained it. So he's being very calculative too in his approach here. Not much Bevo could do about it, but he was able to pull away from old mate James and not have to stress too much. But as you say, that battle right behind Valhalla, Panache, Knight, they were just giving it to each other non-stop here.
Yeah, and I really like the way how Knight was approaching that entire battle as well, because Knight was just sitting waiting for Panache either to succeed in the move and kind of follow through, or for Panache to fail in the move, leave themselves exposed, and then jump all over him. It was a very patient race coming from Knight in that position, just content to kind of let others do the work for them as an Alpine just spun. That was Bailey. I don't think you caught it on the mainstream. I caught it on mine. Just spun on their own, going up the hill, and is now all the way in the back.
No, I was actually reading that Where Boys put in chat that Kev, the gardener, had a PC lagging issue and had to retire. So that's why he has bowed out of that.
Fair. Well, very unfortunate to see Kev pull out Xanda as we saw crash at the start of the main straight. Apparently there may have been issues with the car lagging in front of them, and Hawk Trio as well crashing out on lap 1. So 3 DNFs so far. A couple of other spins as well happening, the most recent one being Bailey underneath that safety car. So now with the 5-second penalty, it's another spin! A Ferrari in the back spin around. That's Knight, who is doing so well.
And he's down into 14th. Safety car is coming in this lap. Joe has the control of the pace at the moment. Spot on the 80 kilometres per hour. Bevo's trying to stay close to him. Old mate James is not going to be done with either. Let's see who gets the jump on this. And Joe's gone. He stood on the gas. I think he's called Bevo sleeping, and as a result, he's already going to have about a half second by the time they get down across the start-finish line. The rest of them, well, they weren't caught. The Haas probably just down a little bit of Foxy as Valhalla tries to line him up, and all of a sudden Bevo under pressure, but James is gone.
Yeah, James has already broken that DRS barrier, so it looks as if Joe will be perfectly fine for the rest of this race. The big battle right now is going to be that battle for second place, as down below Snoopaloop able to get ahead of Wubsy. Clean racing, though, it looks like towards the back of the pack, as up in the front, Valhalla now having a go on Foxy as well, is able to get around, following right behind Panache. Each of them get around the Haas of Foxy. A little bit disappointing for the runner now in P6 as they make their way into that tight chicane. An unfortunate start for the Haas, having a peak, trying to go too wide into the chicane, winds up over the top of the barrier, and that was a very dangerous maneuver right behind. It looks like Achuri as well, being attacked by Tadachi, will be able to defend for now.
Gee, they haven't improved the camera angles any, have they, peeps? Sorry, we're doing our best to try and bring this to you, but whoa, it is tough. But look at this, with the restart now, the Ferrari, I think that's Achuri in 7th spot. I should say the Alfa Romeo under a little bit of pressure, and right behind him, Snoop a Loop is on a charge. He's up behind Robbie at the moment. This is the battle for that final points paying position at the moment, but once again, wrong camera angle.
Oh, that's a good launch. I got a good angle of this one right now. Snoop the Loop is just going to go right through that inside, had the speed on Robbie, and gets the move done before hitting the turn, so a very well exit for Snoop the Loop on those 2-lap pressure hards. Will be able to get themselves back ahead.
Oh, the Haas into the wall. Unfortunately, Robbie from P14 is, I think, going to be out of this one. He hit that very, very hard. Does this bring out another safety car? Only Sector 1 at the moment. He's stuck. He is beached. He is going nowhere, unfortunately. Time for a pina colada.
Oh, my goodness. How do you get beached there? That is such an awkward position to wind up losing the car, but yeah, that's going to do for us. There's another crash, actually, up the hill.
Oh boy, Knight in this one. Snoop by the looks of things. There was a Bailey involved in that as well. Oh my goodness, what a race. Oh, and they're still going under safety car. Well, no, it's not safety car. It's race conditions, so, oh my Lord.
Oh, this is, look, you had 6 hours of work today. I still have the Rona. With sloppy cast for a sloppy race, I think it all makes sense right now as we're approaching lap number 10. Another battle happening, this time at P6 and 7. Achuri looking on that inside line onto Foxy. How much are you willing to send it, Achuri? The answer is just enough. Gets in front of the Haas once again. And Foxy, unfortunately, continuing to bleed positions as Hawk Trio has bowed out for now. They had already lost this race. 2 cars in the pits. That's Knight and Wubsy.
Absolutely perfect by Achuri. Absolutely nailed the braking point and through very, very cleanly. Panache, he's getting a little bit of a wriggle on Valhalla, finding himself under a bit of pressure as he tries to keep up with old mate James, but he's still within DRS range, so he's got a chance. But I tell you what, Panache, he's really putting on a charge here.
Yeah, I mean, Panache has looked like they've had pace for a majority of this race right now. It's just been unfortunate that they've been kind of stuck behind people through Section 2, and can relate a little bit to that after yesterday. That's all well and good, Panache. It's all about getting the exits right here, and we'll see what happens. I do believe DRS is going to be back on this upcoming lap, and you can see right now that DRS differentials between P1, 2, and 3, that all looks good. It's 4th and 5th and 6th, where I think we're going to be seeing a lot of those battles. Panache coming around that turn onto the main straight, DRS active, but because it's a bit of a train, going for it. I just don't think there's enough, though.
And the problem is he's used so much of his ERS, he's now down to 30%, and it's really hard to recharge here. If you're going to use your ERS on the main straight, you've got to make sure you get that overtaking manoeuvre done.
Also, everyone, F in the chats for Achuri. Spun out of that high points position. Still going to be fine, but lost a bit of time. But that does cause the back of the pack actually to separate a bit. Is another spinner! Panache! No! And, this is a dangerous spot to be in. Patience Panache gets himself out of the way. The Ferrari's coming!
Bailey's got a DNF as well. Bailey down.
How did that happen? Bailey pulled into the pits. Bailey
He's into the
retired
pits.
in the pits.
He's retired.
Saving the engine.
Saving the engine for the next race.
Yep.
Ferrari tactics. Old mate James. Here he is at the moment, right behind Bevo. You've got Valhalla trying to find a way past. This is going to be, straight down the inside for old mate James as he goes straight through in a second, and also following him Valhalla as well. So does Bevo have some wing damage, because those two got past way too easily. Now Valhalla is going to have the DRS, and he gets a beautiful run up behind old mate James. Let's see what he can do. Does he go for the overtaking maneuver? Looks to the inside, hard under brakes, runs a little bit wide, forces old mate James off the track, but gets second.
That looked clean to me. There was some space there, and you can't say Valhalla had that right to the line. James might not like it, but that to me, I'd say, was wheel-to-wheel racing. Eventually, James did give up that position, so very aggressive elbows out from Valhalla, got the move done. Bevo just being left in the dust, 1.5 seconds back, already out of that DRS range. As that was happening, there was another spin. I've kind of already lost who it was just because so much happening at the same time, but at the state of this race right now, Joe running away with it, nearly a 5-second gap already. James still staying on the tail of Valhalla in that fight for second. And the other big battle to keep our eyes on is 6th place as well, with Salty. Has been slowly chipping away at that 6th place of Tadachi.
Salty hasn't had things go his way, particularly in qualifying, but now he's all over the back of Tadachi. Down the inside, side by side they go. I don't think they touch. Great driving by both.
Yeah, smart by Salty to pull out, wait for the DRS straight to have another go at it, and you can see Salty just eyeing up Tadachi. Is going to really go for it, I feel, this time. Expect the juice to come out, expect that DRS to flow. Here we go down the main straight. And it didn't look like DRS got employed, actually. There it goes. It was deployed very late, but eventually Salty does make the move happen. With a little bit of juice as well, they make P6 stick.
And most importantly, he didn't do it using a ton of ERS, so he's still got 55%. That's going to help his cause here. He's on a charge back through the field and doing an awesome job at the moment up into 6th. That's from last.
Yeah, last of first challenge. Hey, if someone's going to be able to catch Joe, that could be the driver. Speaking of Joe, we may have missed it. I think Joe had a little spinner, because that 5-second lead, it's now less than a second, HK.
That's for
first.
There's Joe. Sorry, I just was looking at something else. Valhalla not far behind, and old mate James is not done with yet by any stretch of the imagination, is he?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be what's bailing Joe out, because Joe had a little bit of an oops moment, lost 5 seconds of pace, but because of that battle happening before and just, I think, Joe's natural speed, that he should be able to hold it off. The big question for me right now is whether or not Valhalla can stay in that DRS range. It looks like they're going to be just short, and a sigh of relief for the Red Bull camp for this one. It looks as if Joel's lead will continue to remain uncontested, at least for now. As for second place, James, he's going to have to play that patient game. I don't think there's going to be enough speed right here to make the move stick.
Well, Valhalla under pressure at the moment. Old mate James is wanting that position back. He's taken it very, very personally. Can't do anything under DRS, but you get the feeling that he's really going to fight for it. I wonder who's chewing up their tyres. Tyre temperature here is a massive, massive deal. I know what temperature I run in, what pressures I run in my tyres. I get pretty good wear out of them, but if you go for speed, here it can cost you long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially now for those medium tire runners, here's where they're going to be starting to feel a little bit of that burn from the heat. And I think this is evidence right now. If we look at P5 and P6, Salty already has caught up to Foxy. So the hard tire runner actually looking with a fair bit more pace than the medium tires. And we could be seeing a move right now. The question is, does it come before or after those DRS straights? Salty is a patient driver. We saw that before. I will expect Salty to wait for that main straight to make that move, but I feel like it's a matter of time before we see Foxy drop another position.
Well, let's see what he can do. Comes up onto the start-finish straight. Just about to go through there now. The Huss out in front of Foxy Salty, right in the attack zone. Rear wing opens. Let's see what he does. He's got 15% now, down to 10% ARS, so he's done and dusted.
Oh, Joe had another little moment as this was happening. Sorry to take away from that, but there was a little bit of a wide driving Red Bull, and that allowed, in the confusion, Old Mate James to make a move and get himself up into P2. So Valhalla has dropped behind. Old Mate James finally has gone up into P2. Further back, Tadachi had a little bit of spin at the end of turn number 1 as well. And Joe, for setting some very fast paces, it's not been a clean run in the front.
No, it's the tracks. The track does beg you to push that little bit too hard, doesn't it? Bevo up into 4th, holding down 4th, but he's got the Haas of Foxy closing up very, very quickly on him at the moment too.
With Salty right behind as well, we could be seeing a fun little 3-car battle here for P4 in a very near moment. P1 as well, definitely not a guarantee, as there's been a couple little mistakes by Joe that has kept James and Valhalla in it. We'll be curious to see how the 3 of them will look once again, gearing up for another run down that main straight. We're going to see 2 battles, I think, happen simultaneously, one for 2nd, one for 4th, as Old Mate James has about 0.8 of a second ahead of Valhalla, so it'll be very difficult for Valhalla to complete the move. Much less time, however, for Bevo and Foxy, as we're looking at 0.6 right there. DRS wings open. But unless we see a Herculean dive, it looks like everyone's positions will stay stationed for now.
And everybody has used pretty much all their ARS, and we're on lap 15. Let's go through them. Oh, Joe's still commanding. You've got Old Mate James on 10%, 16 for Valhalla, 43 for Bevo, so he's playing the smart game, 14 for Foxy. Go back to Salty, he's on 60, so it's very varied here, but most of them have chewed a fair bit. Now Salty is acting exactly like his name says. He wants this position, and he's starting to get very, very racy. Let's see what he can do. Obviously, difficult part of the track to get past here.
Yeah, it is going to be a difficult part to get past. Speaking of getting past, I was just keeping my eyes a little bit further down the field.
He spun it round.
Salty.
He has spun it round. Salty loops it, and now he's the hot tyres are giving him hell. That's a huge shame. He fought back from the rear of the grid up into 6th spot, but now disqualified for going the wrong way. That's so rubbish. That is absolute rubbish. I had that happen to me at Silverstone. You spin, of course you're going the wrong way. You're pointed in the wrong direction, game. That is rubbish. He's out of this one and undeserving.
That's going to be some angry messages to the FIA race director, but unfortunately for Salty at this stage, not much you can do. And I just want to put not only consolidation to Salty for that, but a little bit of consolidation as well to Wow Wow Wubsy, who made an amazing move that got cut off in the middle of that. I saw what you did, all right? It was a good overtake. It happened on the main straight. Speaking of moves right now, though, Old Mate James under threat from Tadachi in P6. As you can see right here, being forced wide, Tadachi is able to keep it on the track. James not willing to concede any bit of raceway for the AlphaTauri straight behind him. That said, Tadachi's not done. Going to have another move up the long straight at the end of section 1, this time with the speed. Gets the move done and advances to position 6.
And just pulls away. Absolutely pulls away. I'm wondering if Old Mate James has got cold some tires. Sort of wing damage to it. Yeah, beyond old tyres.
No,
cold tyres, I beg your pardon. I'm just wondering if he's got some wing damage to boot. I mean, that is, I know those cold tyres are shockers, but that's a lot of pace he's given up.
I think that actually might just be cold tires, though, because, again, it's the outlap right now for those hards, whereas the hards of Tadachi, 15 laps in, they'd be really feeling this groove, and now you can see the pace of James as those tires have warmed
back up. Yeah, so
exactly,
maybe you're right. Down through the final second last turn they come, the penultimate, and this time down the straight, Old Mate James should get Tadachi back, goes a very tight line, gets a beautiful run onto the straight. This is going to be textbook, you would think. Rear wing opens, he looks to the inside, does he? No, Tadachi goes a little bit defensive. Old Mate James almost pushes him around the corner, looks up the inside and just has way too much grip for Tadachi to battle with. Oh, hang on a sec, he's going on with it, Tadachi.
Yeah, Tadachi's actually still holding on right now as the two continue to battle their way through this track. It looks as if Tadachi's going to hold for now, and James probably going to wait again. Do you risk the move up the hill? I don't think so. James might have to tuck in and wait till the next lap to have another go on Tadachi right there. Look, for a brief second, I thought we were playing NASCAR. It looked as if James was going for the good old bump and run through turn number 1.
But what old mate James is thinking at the moment, I've got these brand new tyres, I want to use them, they're up to temperature, but I can't get past Tadachi, and that is going to cost him net time as we've got our race leader, Joe, coming into the pits.
Yeah, it's, a little bit of a spinner as well. P2 Bevo loses control at the end of the lap. The final turn has gone wide, and that's going to be a lot of time lost for
Foxy
the McLaren.
in the pits as well. So soon as Joe flinched, Foxy has followed Bevo. He is at a massive loss now. That's a huge shame for him. Valhalla in the pits. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, has just been in the pits. Foxy now in the pits. Old mate James stays out. He's got 2-lap old hards on, and he moves forward in the pecking order. Let's see what Joe can do on these colts. This will be entertaining.
Yeah, I think Joe should be fine just because they were able to stay in front of Bevo due to that spin. I also want to cut back to P4 right now, where James has gotten ahead of Tadachi, actually, so they've been able to make that move stick, and now they're going to be pulling slowly ahead. I expect to see Tadachi possibly looking for a pit stop soon themselves, as well as Bevo. Tadachi and Bevo, the only two drivers so far yet to pit in this race.
Well, Valhalla sits back there in third. Old mate James behind him with those new tyres on there, on equal, similar sort of tyres. Tadachi, as we were talking about, 17-lap olds. Panache out there on hards, and he has got 6 laps in the tank. And Wawa Wubsy from 10th spot, albeit a long way off the pace on mediums.
Yeah, Wubsy very far back, and actually is going to have to try to defend that point position as well, because Knight right on their tail. Yes, it's the fight in last place, but that is a point on the line, and with the now more traditional F1 point structure, all these points are super, super important. Bevo has pulled into the pits right now, not too surprising right there, as Knight, looking at a possible move into the chicane, decided against it and wound up pulling off it for now. Everyone has pit at this stage. Tadachi has pulled into the pits as well. So no more mandatory pit stops. The only pit that I expect to see until the end of this race is Snoopaloop, who for whatever reason has opted for the softs, and there's no way those are going to last.
Well, Bevo coming out onto the track again, down in 7th spot as a result of that loop in the final turn, and he'll be trying to do his best to charge forward. Brand new hards for him, and Joe, 6-7 second gap over Valhalla at the moment. He's just streaking away, and old mate James well within DRS range at the moment of Valhalla.
I mean, James and Valhalla have been going at it all race long, and it's not too surprising to see them still at it after that round of pit stops. Valhalla actually wound up in front despite James attempting the undercut on Valhalla, so once again, this new game, the overcut sometimes proving to be a bit more effective. James had P2 when they pit before Valhalla and wound up losing out in the end. So something to take note of, everyone else. But yes, Joe in the lead. If they can hold that lead till the end of the race, it should be a win for the Red Bull team. However, Joe has been less than consistent already in this one, so by no means are we done yet. 15 laps still to go here at the Hungarian ring, and I have a feeling we're not done seeing some chaos yet.
Yeah, and Tadachi is elected to go for the mediums. He's on a brand new set. He's up behind Achuri at the moment. I'm just trying to compare it to my times last night. I think he might be a little bit too far back because he's got 8 further seconds down the road to Bevo, and Bevo's got 9 seconds off Superloop, who's on the soft tyres. So maybe his day is done, but he's not going to go down without a fight. Goes to the inside of Achuri and picks up what is effectively going to be 8th, and valuable points, it needs to be said too.
That said, Achuri's trying to fight back right now. It's not a clean move. We're not done yet. Side by side we go into the end of section 1, and there we go. It is clean now. Like,
yeah, it's under an Alfa
Clean
Romeo.
wasn't the right word. Clean was not the right word. I just wanted to, it wasn't finished yet is kind of what
it was finished. He's just trying to do the right thing because he knows contracts are up at the end of the season for Alfa Romeo. Let's have a look at that story, didn't it? Old mate James all over the back of Valhalla at the moment as they come down through the penultimate turn. This is going to be interesting. Will old mate James go for it? Is he happy to sit there and just count down the laps and then do that last lap lunge? 8.6 seconds further down the track is Joe. That's going to be an insurmountable, you would think, gap to try and break it. Yeah, dare say old mate James, what's he running on ERS at the moment? No, he's just sitting in there and biding his time, I would dare say.
Yeah, it all comes down to whether or not Joe can keep it clean till the end of the race. He's had a couple little oopsie spin moments already, and it's whether or not we see a third, more catastrophic one. I think the big chase right now that we should be keeping our eyes on is Panesh, looking to run down for that podium position. Has been slowly chipping away at old mate James as well. Might be able to catch back up in that McLaren. Also, there was a spin that was Snoop-a-Loop, who just came out of the pits. That was not the one who spun. It was Knight who spun and is spinning again in a pretty precarious spot, actually. Is able to get himself back on the road, but it's going to have to let Joe get in front of him. Blue flags, our first ones of the race, as Knight has been lapped in P11.
Horrible, horrible, horrible feeling, isn't it? And Valhalla still got old mate James looming down on him, but old mate James, as I say, looks like he's just biding his time there and not trying to find a way past, just trying to build up a bit of ERS, and he's done so. He's got about 10% more than Valhalla at the moment, and that's all going to come into play.
I think it will, especially if Panache is able to catch back up and get into that mix as well. It definitely looks to me as if we are going to be gearing up for a three-way battle here for second place to sort of finish this race off between the AlphaTauri, the Alfa Romeo, and the Mercedes. These three cars definitely going to be fighting for those points for that podium as Joe just continues to drive further and further up. It looks as if Knight has called their night there, by the way, pulled into the pit, saved the engine. Ferrari strategizing it out. That is the third car, I believe, we've seen retire in the pits in this race.
Yeah, I'm hearing word from pit lane at the moment that it's another Ferrari engine failure, but I could be wrong. Look, 5-second penalty for Bevo too, worth keeping in the back of your mind. So Tadachi is 6.8 off him at the moment, so there are still points that he can pick up here.
Yeah, I mean, there's points for everyone to pick up. All you have to do is finish the race, right?
Which is proving to be an issue, right? 7 down, 10 to go.
Yeah,
that's so, cars, not laps.
It's all good. Like, I feel like absolutely at this stage you finish that race, you get yourself, the points for your teams, and so you just got to get to that finish line right now, and in that fight for who's going to get there second, again, that's where the action is going to be. The little bit of a DRS train forming right now. Panache is finally joined and linked up.
Well
7/10 of a second behind old mate James. I don't expect to see the move happen this lap, but with the pace that Panache has been going at, give it another lap or two, and we're going to see that Mercedes start to stick its nose in.
Well, Panache has done an outstanding job, hasn't he, to bridge that gap, and he's looking very solid too. He looks like he might just have a little bit more pace than these guys up front. So, as you say, with still over 10 laps left to go, this could be a really, really enthralling battle that you would think, based on what we've seen so far, should go right down to the checkered flag.
I think it will, just like our battle for 8th place actually is. Quickly down Snoop-a-Loop is going on the inside of A. Churi at the end of the main straight, side by side around turn number 1. Who's got the momentum coming out? They're still wheel to wheel, making their way through the second DRS zone, taking that inside. It looked as if the Alfa Romeo is able to hold on, still wheel to wheel.
Oh, there's a touch!
There's a big crash, and Snoop-a-Loop is out of the race.
Oh, my Lord, he had the fresher tyres too. Maybe, I don't know, it's hard to say if he squeezed as they went towards the side of the track there, but that's brought out the safety car. Safety car is back out.
Oh, and straight into the pits, Joe and Valhalla. Wait, Joe just switched to intermediates.
What?
What's happened there?
Joe is on intermediates. Oh no, his race has been thrown out the door. Obviously there was some sort of issue. He wasn't able to select the tyre choice that he wanted, which you'd have to think would be softs, and he's come out on the track on intermediates and will have to sit behind the safety car. It is over, Red Rover, for him. Oh my Lord.
I mean, look, you'll have time to pit again before the safety car comes in and switch to the right tires. But yeah, Joe will be going straight to the back because of that mistake right there. And if Joe's going to wind up to winning this race, as you're saying, it's going to be a lot of work. Valhalla and Old Mate James, they were able to get onto the softs. They're going to be our two front runners right now. Bevo opting to stay out on the hards for position, has moved to what is essentially going to be P3 at this stage. However, has a little bit of a penalty they're sitting on as well. Panesh on the 16-lap Old Mediums also opted to stay out and valuing track position at this stage. So Foxy is going to be the next driver on the fresh tires on those softs. Remember, Foxy stayed out quite long on those mediums before. Now right back in this race.
Okay, let's go and hello. Come on,
Hello.
game. Come back. Let's have a look at the replay of what transpired here. Side by side they went. The Ferrari on the outside, which becomes the inside, then got very tight and looked like the Alfa Romeo may have either glitched or moved across. So that's what ended up happening there. Boy, oh boy. Well, it gives our good friends there at FIA something to do. Now Joe comes into the pits to get rid of these intermediates. He will be fuming.
So does Panesh, though. Panesh missed the first chance to pit, and that means Joe will stay at least in front of someone. But yeah, that was such a big race for Joe. They had been doing so well maintaining that lead despite a couple spins. However, they've now have to work back through that pack if they're going to find a way to get themselves back up.
Can I tell you, Maxie?
Podium.
Can I tell you, I'm not actually disappointed. I'll tell you why. And I don't say that with any disrespect to Joe. Valhalla leads, Old Mate James second, Bevo third, fourth Tadachi, who's on a charge and doing a great job. Foxy's out there on softs in fifth by the Haas team. Wubsy, Achuri, then Joe, the man who has set the pace for this entire race on softs, sitting in eighth, fuming. We're in for a brilliant last 10 laps.
Oh yeah, like for a spectator's perspective, this is ideal. Unless you're a Red Bull fan, in which case, well, you're probably fuming. And this could be the second race in a row where Red Bull was in such a prime position. If you go back to Academy and then just wound up unforced errors costing them a fair bit of time in position. So for a Red Bull team, that looks arguably, and this could be controversial, but I'll take it on the chin. Red Bull as a team from bottom to top division, I'd say is the favorites to win the constructors overall.
Thanks
But
very much
not
for joining us,
results
Max. We'll look forward to talking to you next time. Bye for now. No, I think you're probably right. Safety car in this lap. Valhalla will bring them back with those brand new softs, and we are going to be flicking back and forward through this field to see what Joe can do. Valhalla controls the pace at the moment, just brings it down under 100 kilometres an hour so that he can let the safety car go in and can control the speed without his throttle being controlled for him. Safety car in pit lane now. The front three absolutely nose to tail. Valhalla stands on the gas and off they go. Old Mate James has gone with him and got a brilliant start, but Valhalla down the straight pulling away, and in P4 Tadachi. He's trying to go around the outside of Bevo, down into the braking area. This is going to be tight. He's got the mediums with more grip, does the switchback, but the door is shut. What's Joe doing further back in the pack? He's right up behind Achuri.
Yeah, but you've got to be careful. I mean, Achuri has been, a little bit physical, and there you see it. Contact between Joe and Achuri sends Joe spinning, and
oh my
that
Lord.
could be race done and dusted now for Joe, which means that battle between Valhalla and Old Mate James, which has been happening since, I want to say, lap 4. These two have been going back and forth, is definitely looking like it's going to be the battle for atop the podium.
Oh, he will be absolutely gutted with that. And he's got a mountain to climb now. Look at Tadachi. He didn't have a good first round of the championship, as I mentioned, but he's making amends today. My, oh my, he's showing plenty of pace on those mediums, but he's got two guys up the road further in front of him that are both on softs. Now, we know they're going to go off now. Maxie, what do you reckon? What lap do you think the softs will start to fade?
we're going to be looking at them fading probably at around lap 32-33, which is going to make for a very interesting final 2 laps. But before we get there, Foxy actually having a little peek on Tadachi right now, got a much better launch, and you can see them starting to inch up, trying to use that little bit of juice. Is going to go for the inside line. Tadachi gave the space, but not enough was there. Foxy's going to stay back in P5 after having made a quick move on Wubsy, by the way, to get there. And now Tadachi, they're going to be safe for now, but how long till Foxy has another sniff at P4?
And look at Panache all over the back of Achuri. They're battling out 7th and 8th respectively at the moment. And as they make their way up to this left-hander, he is all over the back of him.
Oh, yeah, it's tough though, because again, trying to go for the move through section 2, it's always going to be risky. Panesh had a thought. You saw him take that look right there, opted against it, decided to tuck it in safely behind right now, as a majority of the pack kind of being held up, I dare say, by Bevo on those hards right now. Bevo just hasn't had the pace to keep up with the 2 front runners through that second section, and that's allowed Old Mate James and Valhalla to pull away.
And Maxi, I don't think that Joe's done with yet. Look at this, down to 3.4. He's in 9th spot at the moment, and he's closing that gap every turn by a 10th. So this is not over as far as he's concerned.
But how long can those softs last, especially when you're pushing this hard? He did get the fastest section 2, but to catch up to the group and then make the moves through the traffic, hey, with Bevo holding up the rest of the pack, P3 still very much on the table for the Red Bull. Fastest lap for Joel, a 1:19.0. That's like a first qualifying time. You know what I mean? Like, Joe is definitely screaming around this track as our fight for first place got very, very close. Actually, James just behind that AlphaTauri Valhalla going up the hill.
He's biding his time. DRS has just been opened. It'll be open to this lap. He'll be able to use it. Tadachi not wasting any time. He's all over the back of that McLaren at the moment, almost pushing him down the track, urging him down. The laps are ticking away, and he knows he needs to get on with it. And he's got much better tyres underneath him at the moment and wants to get after those soft runners, but he just can't get past the wily competitor on board the McLaren of Bevo. I know the problem.
It's through section 2 where that starts to hurt, and you can see the frustration, I think, building from some of the back runners. Panesh with a little bit of a penalty right there. That is going to hurt with how tight everything has become. DRS in one more corner, however. Our 2 front runners about to hit that main straight. Do we see Old Mate James go for that move right now? He's fallen about 7/10 back as we've had another spinner. This time it looks like it's Achuri has actually spun right before that final turn. And that is going to allow Panesh to make their way through. And for Joe, that's another position gained back. Any more dive bombs happening at the end of section 1? Or turn 1, I should say. Yes, there is. The Mercedes of Panesh tries to go on the inside of Wubsy. They go wheel to wheel outside the corner. A little bit more grip, a little bit more speed for Panesh. Yet Wubsy is still going to try to hold on. Panesh is going to fight back around the outside, trying to stay to that inside line, wheel to wheel. That's where we saw Snoop go down before. This time, though, they keep it clean and they go through one at a time.
Now, I just took a quick note of Valhalla's ERS and Old Mate James's ERS. Old Mate James driving a bit of a tactical race, I dare think. He's just sitting there behind 71% he's got, plays 51. I think he's waiting for the last couple of laps, but right behind him, look at Bevo. He's doing an awesome job. Made the step up from Academy last year into the novice class, and he's making every post a winner in this race. Had a difficult first round, but geez, found his feet here.
Yeah, and if he can maintain this, that would be fantastic stuff. As, like, really, if you're Bevo at this stage, you're hoping that Foxy is going to put enough pressure on Tadachi that he don't get that good run out of this turn before heading into those 2 DRS straights, because I feel like in DRS is where Bevo is going to struggle the most on those older hards. Here we go down the straight, and you can see Bevo with a great exit actually is making a bit of time on Tadachi, so we'll be fine for now. Instead, it's going to be Foxy actually looking for the move. Tadachi has to take the inside line to try and play it defensively. No room for a switchback, and Foxy will maintain that P5 spot. Panache, meanwhile, is still going to hold station above Wow Wow 1P and P6. Has all of these battles, all these peaks, but no one willing to make that move.
And further back in the field, all of a sudden, Joe has stuck his hand up and he wants to get on with it. He's in 8th spot at the moment, got round to Churi after that spin, but he's right on the tail of Wubsy at the moment. And those 3 of them were all battling coming down the start, finish straight that time around.
But here's the issue, though. Those softs, they've got 2, maybe 3, if you're lucky, 4 more laps of competitive edging to them before they are going to start to drop off and be no better than those mediums they're racing against. So if Joe can make those moves, you're going to have to go now.
Tadachi are going side by side through a section of the track you don't want to, and Panache has seen the door open. He's looked to the outside, almost tried to go 3 wide in the second last corner, or the third last corner. They're still side by side. Haas on the outside now. He's going to get the inside run, but he's gone wide, and he's going to lose that spot. Tadachi up into 4th, Panache to 5th, Foxy back into 6th spot, and he's into the wall, and he's clipped Wubsy by the looks of things too. So it's on for young and old here. Tadachi under pressure as well as they come down towards the braking area of turn 1. Panache around the outside on those softs.
Yeah, and it's going to make that move stick by the looks of things as well. Panache up into P4, Tadashi back down to P5. Joe, amidst the chaos, has moved up to P6, but has dropped out of DRS range. Meanwhile, in the front, again, James trying to play that patient game, staying within half a second of Valhalla as well. Battles left, right, and center as we are starting our final 5 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix Division 3. And with a chaotic start of the race, but it is turning into a very tense finale, HK. It feels like every trip down that main straight, someone's going to be trying to make a move.
Maxie, did I tell you when we started this that I was a little bit tired tonight because of a long, hard day at work? I tell you what, brother, I'm awake. I am absolutely awake at the moment. This is an extraordinary race. They're all on softs. They're starting to get a bit tired now. The cars are starting to move around, and Panache and Bevo, I know he's got Bassing working in the pit with him at the moment. That's what I'm reading out of chat. And I tell you what, he's been able to pull away at the moment. He's given himself a bit of breathing space with only a couple of laps left to go, but Panache squirrels it as he comes up onto the start finish straight. Who's close? Tadachi and Joe. Here he comes, the comeback king. Is he going to look to the inside? Left that to the very last second, but those softs are a little bit too good for Tadachi. Holds the inside line. Did they touch? The camera angle changed. I think so, because Joe backed out of it. So I dare say, whether they touched or not, win, lose or draw, no harm, no foul.
I had my camera stayed good on it. There was no contact made from what I saw. Joe pulled out as Tadachi just had better grip going around the outside of the turn. So patient racing from Joe right now. Still has, a few laps left. I do want to bring attention back to the front runners, though, because something I've been noticing, James definitely has the pace through Section 2 and Section 3, but Valhalla has been pulling away consistently as soon as they go around that main straight, and that's really the best opportunity for the overtake. So even though it looks like James has been doing a great job sticking to Valhalla, unless they can maintain that momentum through the overtake sections of the track, it might not matter. It's been a brilliant defensive driving coming from Valhalla to maintain this lead, and James is going to have to try a different approach as we approach our final 3 laps.
Now Valhalla backed off for a couple of laps, and he's built up his ERS because he knew that old mate James had plenty in the tank. So he's done a very, very smart tactical move. That's why that gap has closed right down. He knew that old mate James wasn't going to have a go. Didn't want to lead on the last couple of laps. So as a result, he was able to get into a position. Now Joe up the inside of Tadachi, and that time they got a little bit more serious. The elbows came out, and Joe moves forward into 5th spot. Bevo is sitting there in 3rd, and Panache, well, he's just been able to take 4 tenths on that previous lap out, so he's starting to close in a little bit. The battle for 3rd and that final podium spot going to go right down to the checkered flag. Foxy, 10-second penalty for him back there in 9th spot.
I had to jump back to see what was going on, and Foxy was just a straight driving along the grass outside of the road, trying to give space for Wubsy to get by him, and unfortunately the game took that as 10-second penalty time.
Well,
so
just on those penalties, Bevo with a 5-second, Panache with a 3, so he's effectively on the podium in that spot. It needs to be mentioned.
That is an incredible comeback drive from Joe. Like, that is Joe bringing it back. And if you're Joe, if you can finish this race on the podium after that contact, after the intermediates, you're going to be quite happy with that finish, at least in terms of the recovery. But there's always going to be that doubt. Did you throw that win away? Speaking of Panache and Bevo, though, DRS straight. Here comes Panache. Has speed. No wing open for Bevo, who had been doing so good holding on to P3 on the track. Unfortunately, now is going to have to give it up. Panache goes on the inside, takes P3 on the track away, and now is going to be looking to extend that gap to try to keep the podium away from Joe.
And old mate James being very, very patient. You know he's going to have a go this lap. You absolutely know. Let's see what he can do. Valhalla, only 1/10 of a second. Old mate James all over the rear wing. This is about applying pressure, trying to get Valhalla to make a mistake. I know Valhalla really well. We've raced together in a couple of leagues, and I know him away from the track as well. Very hard person to rattle, but old mate James is giving it absolutely everything. And you've got to suggest that going down the pit straight this time, that 40% that he's got in the tank for ERS is going to be absolutely emptied, but Valhalla has 40% himself. So, old mate James down to 27 as he tries to hold on. Valhalla may have this. If he can unload the tank coming onto the start-finish straight, he may have a chance. Let's see what he can do. This is old mate James' potential last opportunity. Valhalla pulls it out to almost a second. Onto the start-finish straight they come. Let's see what he does. Does not. Now he hits the juice, and he has got a big enough gap to hold it down. James has emptied the tank. He's almost down to zero, and Panache is closing right in on him. This is going to be a ripper of the last lap. Maxi, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, look, we spent this entire last stint of the race thinking James was playing that patient game, but I think it was Valhalla playing possum, because as soon as we were approaching that DRS zone, Valhalla put that hammer down, put nearly an entire second. I was worried James wasn't even going to get DRS, and now James with an empty tank has to be careful, because it's Panache who's kind of chipping at the heels of old mate James, who is going to be looking very fast as Joe gets a 3-second penalty.
Oh.
And that is going to kill any podium hopes for the Red Bull driver. Back to the action towards the front, however, you can see Panache looking to go side by side, pulled away through the technical section too, but
they
it's
touched.
Right
touched.
on the wheel. Did they make contact?
Yeah, they made contact. Panache goes around, up the inside, this time around Bevo, across the grass. He's going to bow out of this, I dare say, because he did overtake off the grass, but I think that was to avoid potential contact with old mate James. So Valhalla through the penultimate turn onto the start-finish straight. How many goes have we had at this race? And finally we have a victor. It's going to be Valhalla. The second week in a row he finds himself on the podium. Panache in second spot. Great job. Old mate James with the penalty will get into second. Then Panache. Joe, wow dude. Oh, what a day you've had, mate. You've worked for that. Bevo in fifth, Tadachi in sixth. Then we go back to Wubsy. He'll come down across the line in seventh. He's just going through the final couple of turns now onto the start-finish straight to complete this. It'll be Achuri and Foxy rounding out the top 9. Well, that was absolutely scintillating.
I am so sad you missed what happened post-race on the stream.
I saw it. They had it coming together, and I saw the wings flying. I don't know who hit who.
A little bit of frustration, perhaps, from the Mercedes AI right there. Just full sent it. Fair enough.
I mean, how bad's the game going if the AI can't go without crashing? Let's be honest.
That's a pretty good sign. Look, we started with 17 racers. Just over half of them were able to cross that finish line at the end. 9 finishes here at the Hungarian ring. But I don't think that was a true testament of some of the quality of the racing that we saw in the front. Lots of wheel-to-wheel action, great strategy in play. And when you look at our winner, Valhalla, they were in a battle, it felt like, from the very first lap with old mate James to the end. But that possum tactics, just keeping James close enough to burn enough of that ERS that when you hit that last lap, that last opportunity, it wasn't even close. Bridging and building that second gap right before the main straight was absolute perfection. So well done to our winner, Valhalla, and the AlphaTauri team. A victory well deserved.
And Wubsy gets the drive of the day. There's the podium presentations taking place at the moment. The AlphaTauri in position number 1. There's the team looking on, and they'll pick up the Constructors' Trophy as well as the Champagne Flies. Righto, let's go and take a look at our final results. So let's see if I can get through this. Valhalla, old mate James, Panache, Joe, Bevo, Tadachi, Wubsy, Achuri, Foxy. Then we go back to Snoopaloop in 10th, and of course they were the first of the DNFs. Now for the race director. Good luck to the FIA for this week. They're going to be busy little campers. Racing incidents. Here we go, peeps. Actually, it's not too bad on the racing incidents. They've done pretty good. If you want that, of course, you can push stop, and there are the pit stops as well. So there you have it. Novice really living up to expectations today, I dare say.
I mean, look, we knew we were in for something special when we had 3 cars spin on their initial out laps in qualifying. I think that was a sign that we were going to be having a fun day, but I have to agree with what some of the people are saying in the chat right now. We thank Joe for their sacrifice, switching to inters to give us the exciting conclusion to the race, at least when it comes to that battle for first place. It's got to be frustrating for Red Bull, but I'm happy that the game did at least recognize Wawa Wubsy as getting that driver of the day.
Yes.
I actually kind of agree with it because while all the action was happening in the front, every time I would look back what's happening towards the back of the pack, it was Wubsy making another overtake, making another move down that main straight. And I think there was a couple issues, unfortunately, for Wubsy where they had, like, when we saw the things had to pit for new wings. So they never were in the thick of the race proper, but they were always doing what I like to call garbage collecting, which is where you're just picking up the scraps, picking up overtakes in the back, and having a quiet but very solid race in and of itself. So kudos to Wubsy for that.
Well,
As
Maxie,
I believe it's time for interviews.
yeah, we're not going to do any garbage collecting now. We're going to go straight to the top of the pops. Valhalla. For the second time in a week, we get to chat in the interview section, my friend. Congratulations. What a great run.
Thank you so much, HK. Oh, man, it feels good to have it in the same week as your first, man.
Hey, tell me,
timing.
it looked like you were saving for the last couple of laps and trying to build up your ERS. Were we
Yeah,
right in
100%.
assuming that?
Yeah, that's correct. So I don't know if you saw, but I was being told by my engineers that, what's it called? Old Mate was pushing with his ERS. So I was running extraordinary low downforce for a track like Hungary. So it was really helping me out on the straights. And then in sector 1 and 2, Old Mate James would come back. And so I just had to save my ERS through then. And down the main straight, I could save. And even though he had DRS, it couldn't make any dangerous lunges or anything like that. So it was pretty clean. And yeah, I was happy with how everything turned out.
Matey, you were on a high after last week because you finished on the podium last week. What were your expectations coming into today? Did you think you could take out the win?
Oh, it's a bit of a mixed bag because throughout the end of last week, I was doing a bunch of practice trying to do wet runs, dry runs, strategies. But then last night with the new update, had to change up everything quite dramatically, actually, because the tyre temps were a killer, especially around Hungary. So yeah, I had to do a bit of adjusting earlier today, but yeah, kept the tyre pressures low and turned out not too bad. It did feel a bit more slidey than quali runs, but yeah, it is what it is.
Maxi.
Yep. I want to jump in and I want to ask about the sort of pit stop strategies because when James pulled into the pit, he was in front of you at that time. You were sitting P3, and it kind of forced you into a bit of an overcut situation. Yet, at the end of it all, you actually wound up in front of James. Was that something you were expecting? Did you always value the overcut more than the undercut, or was that more of a pleasant surprise?
So I was always going to pick lap 16 at the earliest, and I was thinking I might have to stretch it out if James decides to keep staying out. But it sort of worked out well in the sense that he pitted right before the lap that I needed to go in. So I had a bit of ERS built up. I pushed because my mediums were nice and warm, and I knew on his out lap, for one, he would have cold hard tires, which are not too easy to light up, and also for two, my teammate happened to be happily right in front of him. So we played a bit of the team game, and yeah, came out with a couple of seconds shaved ahead of him.
Well, well done, buddy. Much congratulations to you. Your championship's looking pretty solid now. We're going to send you back to the AlphaTauri garage. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks a lot, HK. Nice talking to you, and you too, Max.
Now, let's pop him back into the AlphaTauri garage. I can't get him out.
Just throw him in any group. Throw him to Red Bull.
It's all good. I'll leave.
Yeah, I can drag you in. I just can't drag you back. I tell you
I'll
who.
leave.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good one. I tell you who I do want to have a chat with. Let's see if I can drag him in. Just having a little bit of trouble. Just give me 1 sec. This always looks easy when other people are doing it, right? I want to.
No, yeah, I've been in your position. I know it's not easy. It's
old mate James. I want to try and get old mate James, but I can't drag him up. Let me.
Oh, it's because he's streaming.
Is it? Oh, is no. Well, Valhalla was streaming too. I just can't drag him up. Let me see if I can get rid of a couple of these. No. It's not
That's okay.
working for me, unfortunately. One of the admins might be. Oh, one of the admins has
he's
helped
already
us
here.
out. Oh, mate, James, man, that was a big race. Talk us through from your perspective, because it looked like you had so many highs and so many lows. 30 odd laps, and I think you had 30 of the same ups and downs. Talk us through it.
I ended up not being able to complete a second quali lap because I just sort of like ruined it myself, like spun and whatnot, like right in the last corner and stuff. So ended up somehow actually setting a decent time on my banker lap, which was good. And then for the most part, the actual race, once the final proper lobby got started, was uneventful. Up until right at the end when the safety car came out. And I wanted to pit for fresh mediums, but I went into the pit lane and then was trying to sort out my tyres and realised I only had used mediums and fresh softs.
Yeah.
Because I think because we restarted the lobby, we didn't get the tyres to carry over from quali or anything like that, spare tyres or something. I don't know. So I ended up having to go for softs, and they were just massively dying towards the end there. But fortunately, Valhalla was in the same position. I just couldn't get past him.
Yeah, I mean, the Hungarian ring is always a little bit notorious for those overtakes, which is why it looked like you and Valhalla, who were battling all race long, was going to be that fight for second. And then the car in front of you pits for intermediates under safety car. I'm just kind of wondering what's going to when you see that happen. Does it like sort of reignite you? Does it get that competitive spirit going once more? Or is it something that you just put at the back of your mind and head down, keep racing?
Yeah, I mean, I was not going to lie, I wasn't exactly sad when I saw that Joe did that, but I kind of felt bad for him at the same time because I feel like he must have been in the same position as me, like trying to sort out the tyres last minute on the pit entry and just didn't manage to sort it out in time.
Well, congratulations on getting on the podium, and I know you worked for that one, and you deserve probably a drink after that. So go and have a bit of a refresher, and thanks for helping us out and jumping into the chat. I appreciate it.
No worries, thanks boys.
There he is, old mate James, not only one of our great commentators, but very capable pilot too, as you can see, was absolutely on it today there. Well, Maxie, we're going to have to leave it there because I'm absolutely starving, if the truth be known. I haven't eaten dinner, so I need to disappear and grab something to eat before I pass out.
Fair play. And like, look, I'm going to be real with everyone here. Still was like diagnosed with COVID 2 days ago. My throat, believe it or not, feels like it's about to crawl out of my mouth. This was
walking wounded.
This was a very painful cast. So I'm good to call it there right now. Although I do want to note, James, not the only commentator who's good at racing. I feel like everyone behind the booth is good at racing. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's my challenge to everyone else.
Well, thank you, Max. We've wanted to do commentary together for so long. We finally got the chance to do it. Unfortunately, Nordal not feeling the best at the moment. He's been doing the old cough thing. He was going to be replaced by Merck today, but unfortunately, he had to go to work. And very nice of Fluxy to allow you to jump into the commentary today. So a big call out to him as well. Everybody in chat, thank you very much. By the way, everyone, we are absolutely smashing it with the views at the moment. It's so good. Please whack all these streams on your social media. We need to lift this. We need to get sponsors in so that we can get you some prizes. We're doing our best behind the scenes. So spread the love. Get onto Twitter. Get onto Instagram. Let everybody know. Maxie, appreciate your time. We'll look forward to catching up with you in the not too distant future.
And I never learn. The same flame, and I'm always hurt, picking my pieces from the ashes on the floor.